Summer 2003 was a vibe, to say the least, once Beyonce and Sean Pauls' collaborated dancehall-inspired track Baby Boy hit our airwaves and the club scene. If you weren't reaching for your Rasta Cap and hitting the dutty whine as soon as the beat dropped, then what were you doing? In other words, the song was a big tune. Despite owning the #1 spot on Billboard's Hot 100 for 9 consecutive weeks, Sean had only performed the song with Bey less than a handful of times, which oddly enough would later spark dating rumors that lead Beyonce to confront Sean backstage following their performance. On the almost 20th anniversary of Baby Boy, Sean spoke on those times with Bey during recent interviews, which led fans to believe that him and Bey were in fact a thing, and that a young Hove had been jealous of the two's relationship, halting any further collaborations and interactions by any means necessary. Or so we thought. And somehow Matthew Knowles was brought into the mix. In the early 2000s, Beyonce was just an up-and-coming solo artist who would go from being the pretty girl in the middle of former girl group Destiny's Child to being the pretty girl every artist had on their dream collab list. Honestly, it doesn't seem as if things have changed much since then, but what has changed is all of those dating rumors Bey was dragged into and all the men's she'd been linked to. We can all agree that the track Baby Boy wouldn't be nearly as hot if Sean hadn't agreed to add his signature spice on it. After revealing to be a fan of his, Bey asked Sean to collaborate on the track. He was ecstatic since, after all, he was already a fan of Destiny's Child and urged Beyonce to sign him up ASAP, no Rocky. This birthed the dancehall track, which went on to grace our television screens, more specifically the MTV and BET networks, as well as our radios, over and over and over. Once the song blew up like a bomb in Afghanistan, Sean couldn't wait to perform it with JayZ's Young Beau, and when they finally got the chance to perform together, everything for the most part went according to plans. But after the initial performance, their follow-up performances would be laced with what seemed like more and more obstacles. Technical difficulties left Sean looking like Boo Boo the Fool on stage, while Beyonce, on the other hand, would be looking as flawless as ever in all her glory. After a scheduled performance in LA, the crowd's energy was on one. Both Sasha Fierce and Sean feeding off of them as well as each other. No, not like that. But the energetic mood soon dwindled after Sean sang his verse. Confused by the audience's sudden reaction, Sean dipped once his segment of the song ended, going backstage, and was met with his posse and band going in due to the volume or lack thereof in Sean's mic. The mic had been completely turned off. This wouldn't be the last time some questionable technical errors were made, because not too long after, similar events occurred yet again, this time in Scotland at an MTV event. Only this time, it wouldn't be his mic that would get shut off, but his entire verse in the song had been controlled, alt and deleted. Oh, but it gets worse. During one of MTV's biggest nights at its annual Video Music Awards, Beyonce performed Baby Boy, but Sean appeared to be missing from the main stage. Except he wasn't missing and had been in the audience helplessly watching his collaborate mate perform their song without him. Embarrassing as that may be, it didn't get any better once Paris Hilton, who was seated right beside Sean, leaned over and asked him why he wasn't on stage. He was later supposed to fly to Washington, D.C. to perform the track for Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, but that never happened. Sean finally had enough of the shenanigans and decided to dip, and this would be the last time Sean would agree or attempt to perform the song with Beyonce. To make matters even more incredibly awkward, Beyonce had actually confronted Sean square up after a joint performance, giving him the "we need to talk" script. It was evident that she was more so ticked off than anything. With chest, she wasted no time asking him what all of the dating hoopla was about, hinting at the possibility of Sean himself aiding in the rumor circulation. But Sean insisted that he had absolutely nothing to do with the gossip. Needless to say, the rumors were messing with Beyonce's overall career, and not in a good way. Sean's career, on the other hand, was getting a good old Mario Kart boost, but didn't want Bey to be more upset than she had already been, so to calm everyone's blood pressure, he insisted on talking to JayZ about everything, since, after all, he and Hov had been friends first. This redirecting the discussion from messing with my career to messing with my career and my man. The recurring performance mishaps gave fans enough ammunition to declare that Blue Ivy's daddy was indeed the mastermind behind the madness, intentionally sabotaging Sean and Beyonce's performances, the little performances they did have, at any given chance. During an interview hosted by 2 Live Crew, Action and the Burger Man radio show in Jamaica, the host brought up that period in Sean's life and further suggested that Jay had been jealous of Sean and Bey's relationship, hence the technical issues and decreased interactions throughout the years. Sean didn't outright deny any of the allegations and even got caught in 4K, saying that his good looks could have possibly been a reason as to why Jay felt some type of way after the host suggested it. Although Sean later backtracked during other interviews by stating that he didn't believe JayZ had anything to do with all of that jazz that happened way back in the 99s and 2000s, further insinuating that there could be a possibility that Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, had something to do with the odd taste in the buttermilk. Beyonce at the time was kept on a tight schedule and a tight leash pertaining to the relationships she had throughout her early years. Once she turned 19, she was linked to Jay and has been tied to him ever since. Despite Sean backtracking and flipping faster than a hamburger at a fast food joint, fans aren't so quick to believe that JayZ had absolutely nothing to do with Beyonce and Sean's faulty performances. And this Bun B story will probably have you believing the same. It's 2004. Beyonce is looking like a doll on the set of the music video to her song Check On It, with rappers Bun B and Slim Thug also featured on the track. Beyonce is rehearsing her scenes and dressed in a miniskirt and bikini top and is cued to dance seductively on a chair along with a few of her backup dancers. Everyone was having a good old funky time when ring ring ring, or whatever phone ringer was popular at the time, probably Hey Ya by Outkast since we're in 2004, remember? But anywho, Beyonce's assistant phone rings and JayZ just so happens to be on the other line asking the who, what, where, how questions regarding the shoot. Once Jay asked about the guys being there, that's when things took a turn and Bun B, along with Slim and them, were approached and asked to leave the set and head back to their dressing rooms until further notice. They weren't allowed to watch Bey do what Bey does anymore, which I don't know about you, but if I were to be kicked off of a Beyonce shoot unprovoked, I'd be fuming. Fortunately, Bey approached them after filming was complete and apologized for Jay's insecurities, telling them, "I'm so sorry you guys had to leave the room, but Jay's not comfortable." Luckily, the guys understood wholeheartedly and were just happy to be part of the shoot. Bun B's wife Queenie had also been present the whole time, but Hov was risking no chances. In other words, everybody's an op until proven otherwise. Sean can say Jay didn't have anything to do with those odd incidents all them years ago, but from the stories we've heard and the testimonies given, you can't blame people for suspecting Jay to cause mayhem amongst Beyonce's work and personal relationships. So, if not Jay, then who or what could have possibly put a strain on Sean and Beyonce's relationship? Well, according to Sean himself, Beyonce is the HBIC of her career and knows exactly what she envisions for herself overall. Besides, Jay and Bey weren't even married at that time, so his input toward her career goals couldn't have been so significant. Again, according to Sean, that is. Whether you believe JayZ had relatively nothing to do with the practical erasure of Sean and Bey's business relationship, or think he's the prime suspect, is nothing all but speculation at this point. Whether seance were in fact real or merely a fandom conducted ship waiting to be sailed, people would have gone against the grain and twisted Sean's words anyhow. During that infamous Burger Man interview, he insists that his words were twisted more than Auntie Anne's pretzel, going on to say that weird things did happen, and that's probably why the rumors began in the first place. But people tend to leave out the latter part of the interview, allowing their imaginations to run wild. Well, Sean, welcome to the internet. Would you be here for another Beyonce and Sean Paul collab? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments, and stay tuned for more true celebrity stories.